Today I'm going to showcase how to remove swirl marks on black paint, and it doesn't matter what color paint it is, to be honest with you. It can be white, it can be black, it can be purple, red, yellow, green, whatever it is. And swirl marks are essentially thousands of shallow scratches. Swirl marks, they're often referred to as spiderweb scratches. And the way swirl marks are instilled, it's from improper washing, it could be from automatic car washes, and it doesn't matter if your car is new or old. My wife and I got a new car last weekend, and it has 30 miles on it, covered in swirl marks. Because the dealership, they wash it with a brush, they dry it with an old bath towel, and it scratched the heck out of it. So I'm going to show you how to remove that, and I'm going to use a flashlight here. You can also use the flashlight on your phone. We all have a phone these days with a flashlight built in. And what you do is you simply hover it above the paint. Whoops. There we go. And you'll see the swirl marks, and this light is not the brightest in my battery. That's seizure mode. So you can see there's thousands, and feel free to come up here if you like. Oh, there we go. You can see there's thousands, that's a great light. Thousands of these shallow scratches, and this takes away from the appearance of your vehicle because it's going to dull the finish, it hinders the shine. And it used to require years of experience and professional tools to remedy this issue, but now you can do it with a dual action polisher in the comfort of your own garage with little to no experience, and you don't have to worry about burning the paint. And the tool I'm going to showcase today is the Porter Cable 7424XP. I've been selling these for about 12 years. This is a random orbital polisher, which is the same as a dual action polisher. And the way this works is the pad rotates and it oscillates. So compared to a rotary polisher that just spins in a circle, this rotates and oscillates, so you have a much less concentration of heat, and you don't have to worry about burning through the paint. And just to demonstrate how safe this machine is, I'll put a foam pad on here. And you got variable speed. I'll turn the speed up. And I'll put it on my hand like that, and it's not going to cause any harm. It actually feels kind of good. And you got a little bit of shoulder pain, you know, rub your shoulder. So this tool, it's a free floating spindle bearing assembly. There's no tension on it. When the pad is not flat, it's going to stop rotating. That's a built-in safety feature. If too much pressure is applied, it's going to stop rotating. That's a safety feature. So you don't cause any damage. So there's different types of foam pads, and we have a kit today on special. And the foam pads, they vary with the level of aggressiveness. When you're removing swirl marks and scratches, you want a more aggressive foam pad, something with mechanical cutting ability. And this pad, it's rougher, it's sharp, and this is going to engage the abrasives in our complete swirl remover, which is step number 1. Unlike the compounds that a lot of you guys have probably used in the past, where it's rocks in a bottle, and when you feel it in your fingertips, it feels like sand. This does not feel like that. It actually feels like an expensive skin lotion. So this is going to abrade the paint without scouring or hazing the finish or taking off too much, because the clear coat on this Camry is about as thick as, actually not just the clear coat and the paint is as thick as a piece of printer paper. So it's about 3 mils thick. It's not thick at all. You don't have a lot of material. So this only takes away what needs to be taken away. And to showcase the before and after, so you can clearly see the difference, I'm going to put a tape line down here. This is just regular masking tape. This will be used as a visual indicator so you can see just how amazing the before and after difference is. So you've got your machine, and this tool, it's been around for a long time. Porter Cable is a reputable tool company. These things last forever. They're inexpensive. And they're well built. You can drop it, you can use it over and over again. It's going to last you a long time. So with this tool, the way the pads attach is you have a Velcro hook and loop style backing plate. The backing plate is 5 inches, and then the pads, the backing material, is a little bit larger than 5 inches. So you take your swirl remover, you shake it up. And our polishes and compounds, and actually the whole line, it's what Wayne Carini uses at his shop, F40 Motorsports. Most of you guys are probably aware that Wayne is not only a spokesman for the product line, he's also a partner in the product line, in the company as well. So his guys, when they wet sand, cut and buff a vehicle, or before they sell a car to a customer, they hit it with these 2 products. and they make the paint super glossy. So a little bit goes a long way. You don't have to use a whole lot, just a few drops. This one bottle will do multiple cars. And then the most important thing here is never turn the machine on when the pad's not touching the surface. That's when you get sling. This type of tool, by design, being a dual action, you're not going to get any sling like you will with a rotary polisher. If you've used the rotary machine in the past, it slings compound all over the place, on your garage walls, on your face, in your eyes, everywhere. So take the machine, you're going to put it flat on the surface, you're going to spread it out. And this is our Carolina detailing cart, by the way. This is a fantastic cart for all your detailing supplies. We have one with a hole in it too for your bucket. So when you're washing your car, you're not bending over to dunk your wash mitt. So I have the compound on there, turn my speed down just to spread it out. And with this tool, you work on an area about 12 inches by 12 inches square. And it's really important that when you're doing this, you have a slow arm speed. You'll notice that I go really slow with my arm speed, but the speed of the tool is high. If you go too fast, you're just skimming over the surface. Typically as men, when we hear a motor, something loud, we want to go really fast. We feel like our arm speed has to match the speed of the motor. Well, that's not the case. So I'm going to take my time, go slowly, and I'm going to put about 15 pounds of pressure down on the head of this tool. Now this machine, if you purchase one, or if you already have one, it includes a side handle. I always tell people to take the side handle and throw it away. The reason why is if you have the handle on there, you're going to tend to push on the handle. And when you push on the handle, you're putting pressure on one side of the tool, and the pad's not going to rotate. The pad has to rotate for this machine to work. So it's helpful when you get one of these, take a Sharpie and put a little line on it so you can visually see that the pad is rotating. So the machine's on the surface, I'm going to crank my speed up, and I'm going to perform what you call a section pass. So a section pass, I'll go side to side, that'll be one, slightly overlapping each time, up and down, overlapping, that'll be two, and I'm going to perform about 5, 6 of those. And this compound has what you call a long buffing cycle. If you've used an inexpensive compound in the past, it dries up really fast, it's really hard to wipe off. This actually applies more like a wax, and it's very, very user-friendly to wipe off. Take your towel, and when you're wiping off a compound or a wax or a polish, you want to fold your towel 4 ways so you evenly distribute the pressure. You don't want to bunch the towel up like this and scrub it up. That's not what you're doing. And when you wipe, you're taking short, firm strokes. You're not wiping like a wild man. Got my towel, short, firm strokes. And that's step number 1. At this point, there's going to be a big improvement in the overall finish of the paint. Step number 2 is we're going to refine the surface, and we're going to maximize the gloss by using a finishing polish. The Swirl Remover has done the majority of the work. It's taken care of the swirl marks and scratches. Now we're polishing, so I use a less aggressive pad. This is a foam polishing pad. It's not as sharp as the other one.
How often do you clean
I'll have questions and answers at the end here. Otherwise, I'll lose my train of thought. Short attention span, especially when I'm hungry. So this is our complete finishing polish. This is an even finer polish. And again, this is just going to take it from what is a 9 right now to a 10. And I want to make sure I do a good job on this Camry because I think they only made about 450,000 of these in 2014. So, and the same concept as before. So don't turn the machine on until the pad is flat on the surface. And before I was at speed 6 because I was abrading the paint. Now I'm going to be at a lower speed because I'm not trying to remove defects. I'm just polishing to a high gloss. And if you got a car that's in really good shape as it is, you can just do the second step here. So even if you're like, I don't have any swirl marks or scratches, you can still perform this step, just the polishing step, and get amazing results. So I'm going to spread the machine out, or spread the polish out at a low speed, and then I'm going to turn it up to speed 5. I turn the machine off. I don't lift it off the paint until it's completely off. Take your towel and the exact same as before. Fold it 4 ways, and when you wipe it off, take short, firm strokes. Wipe off really easy. And when you detail your car, you want to make sure you have plenty of towels. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I've had a lot of times where someone like you will come in, they'll buy a polishing kit, and they'll say, give me a towel. And I say, a towel, that's singular. You need towels, plural. You know, to do the steps 1 and 2 on this entire Camry, I would go through about 12 towels. Now you can wash these towels and reuse them. It's not like they're garbage afterwards. So you can throw them in the washing machine. We have a microfiber detergent that works really well. But have plenty of towels, because what will happen after a while is your polish, the residue that you're wiping off, is going to build up on the towel. And then later on, 4 hours later, you know, if you're tired or you're hungry, you know, you start to take shortcuts, you're wiping it off, and it just kind of smears it around. So I'm going to take the tape line off. And when you remove tape, I know a lot of you guys have custom paint jobs. You want to do it with care and with intentionality. You don't just pull straight back. Always pull at an angle like this. And use some type of high quality painter's tape. And pull slowly, don't just, you know, that's a Camry so I can do that. But on your custom paint job, don't do that, okay? Hopefully the boss isn't watching, they're just his car. And I just had a little bit of residue right here and wipe off. So there's the after. Looks really good, right? And then here's the before. And all those swirl marks, and when we're finished, if you guys want to come up here with your phone, you can take a look for yourself. All the swirl marks were hindering the gloss, the color, and the clarity of the underlying color coat. And now you have a swirl-free finish. And this Camry has a really nice paint job. When you look at it, you know, from 10 feet away, 15 feet away, it looks like it's a solid black. When you put a light on it, whether it's a flashlight, or the light from the sun, this actually has a really nice metallic finish. So all those scratches and swirl marks are hiding this beautiful metallic finish. So real simple 2 steps. repeat this process around the entire vehicle. A common question I'm asked, which I'm sure I'll be asked today, is do I have to do all of this in one day? And the answer is no. You can break it apart over a couple days. You know, there's been times where I've detailed one of our family cars, and I'll do a fender and a hood on one day, and then a few days later, I'll do another door and a fender. You don't have to do all of this in one day, so you can take your time with it. Any questions?
How often do you clean the pad?
How often do I clean the pad?
Yeah.
That's a good question. So in the real world, what I would do with this Camry is, this is a mid-sized car, actually closer to full size. I would plan on using about 3 cutting pads for this detail. And what I mean is, after a while, the pads, they're going to get gummed up with product, and they're going to lose their mechanical cutting ability. So what I would do if I were detailing this is I would use the one cutting pad for this quarter panel. I would take it off and I would put a new one on to do the door, and you want to keep rotating your pads. That also gives the adhesive material time to cool down, because heat is the enemy of a lot of things, especially a backing material on a pad. So you want to rotate your pads, and to clean them afterwards, we have a pad cleaner. It works great. You spray it on, you rinse it out, and the pads are like new. Good question. What was your question, Bob?
2 questions.
Yep.
Number one, do you have some type of kit that comes with a machine and a couple chemicals, so it makes it like bubble-proof if anybody's interested in purchasing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Great. That's a special thing today?
Yeah, conveniently enough, we have a kit that has the products that I used, okay? And, you know, we are here to sell stuff. It has the products I used, you know, a retail volume of about $300, and for the show special, it's $200. You get the machine, the backing plate, you get the white pad, the yellow pad, both polishing compounds. And it's a great value for the show only, it's for today only. So if you're interested, if you go online and you buy this stuff a la carte, like I said, you're over $300. So.
Last but not least, can anyone come up and play around with the machine on the car itself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If anyone wants to come up here afterwards, you know, you want to try it out, by all means. This is a blank canvas, or actually a scratch-up canvas. So take a machine. It's Bob's car, and you know, so we'll do a good job.
I'll get a couple up there. Whoever goes up there and plays around with the machine, I'll have a special gift for them.
Oh, there you go. So if you play around with the machine on Bob's car, you get a special gift from Bob. And by all means, I mean, all joking aside, I mean, you saw what I just did. It doesn't require lots of experience. It's, you know, with a 10-minute tutorial, you just repeat this process panel by panel. And best of all, since we're recording this for YouTube, if you want a refresher, let's say tomorrow or Monday, you just go on YouTube, type in McKees 37, and you can watch this video. Or you can always call me or stop by during the week. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What's the comparison between polishing and ceramic coating the car?
So afterwards, after you remove the swirl marks and scratches, you'll want to apply some type of wax or sealant or ceramic coating. A ceramic coating will last a lot longer than a wax. It's more of a set it and forget it. There's a lot of us that really enjoy waxing our cars. It's therapeutic. So if you one of those guys, then you can still apply a wax once every 6 months or once every 3 months. But there's a lot of options for protection. Good question.
My exact question.
Oh, you're exactly. And you're
Consider paint correction? What you did?
Yeah, this is considered paint correction. Yeah, so it's correcting the paint. It's removing the swirl marks, the scratches. And if this Camry were plagued by water spots, it'd be the exact same process. You know, if you get water spots and you don't remove them right away, they etch the surface. And you can use this process. The beauty of having quality abrasives, which are polishing compounds, they utilize engineered abrasives. So these abrasives are created in a lab. They're very expensive, and that's where the bulk of the cost comes from a polishing compound. So you can use them on a clear coat paint like this Camry. You can use it on single stage. You can use it on antique lacquer paint. You can use it on everything.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Say you've got paint protective film on your car,
Yep.
clear stuff. What should you use on that?
So-
you have swirl marks or some kind of issue. How do you get that to look as clean as it did originally?
So that's a good question. So if you have paint protection film, and it's always good to check with the manufacturer first because that's expensive to have put on your vehicle. What you can use is our finishing polish. So any really high quality finishing polish can be used on paint protection film. And paint protection film, it's in the plastic family, and plastic is a lot softer than this paint. So the finishing polish will be more than enough to take care of those swirl marks in that. But again, I always err on the side of caution. Check with the manufacturer. most really good shops will use a high quality XPEL or 3M. The other shops that use low quality stuff, which is questionable. Next question. That's a good question too, by the way. I'm glad you asked that for YouTube. So people, hey, can I use this on heat protection film? Go ahead, Jim.
Nick, the last time we were here, we were telling everybody about the pad cleaner.
Yep.
Okay. You might know something about this, but
Let's put her on the spot.
yeah. Where am I at when I take a bottle of that home and tell my wife that I got to put that in the washing machine to clean my pants?
Yep.
And she says, "Oh no, you're not going to put that stuff in my washing machine. I wash my clothes in there."
Well, I would suggest that you take her out to a nice restaurant first. I've only been married 8 years, and I know this. Okay.
Right.
So take her out for a nice dinner first, and then proceed with your towel washing.
Well, the point is there any problem with that stuff if there's left, residue of that stuff and washing your clothes in it?
So the foam pads, I normally don't put in the washing machine, just because I don't like to submerge something with adhesive in water. When your washing cycle, it's in there for an hour or so. Okay.
So you're putting them in a bucket.
So the pads, what I do is we have a pad cleaner, which you put it in a bucket. What I do 99% of the time is we have a spray pad cleaner. I spray it on, and I just put a video on Facebook with this. You spray it on, you agitate with your fingers, and you rinse it out. So usually after detailing, I'm tired. I don't want to put something in a bucket and come back the next day or an hour later. So the pad cleaner, boom, works really well. Next question.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for what you said about the therapy. I thought I was crazy for all these years. Just like PBI on the floor like this, my God.
Well, you likely are crazy. I know I am.
Okay. But that's what I asked. Because I've been coming here for years with Mike, and I have a little secret card in my thing. I did it with I used the black wire.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, I know stuff is advanced, right? Nobody uses, but that stuff is still quality stuff too, because I'm getting tremendous results.
Yeah, so there's a lot of reputable manufacturers out there. There's a lot of quality car care products, and when Bob owned Auto Geek, if you guys don't know, Bob McKee was the creator of Auto Geek, the former owner. He created that company, and with it, he created several brands along the way. Pinnacle, Wolfgang, Blackfire. When Bob owned Auto Geek, those were all great brands. When Bob sold Auto Geek, he kept the McKees 37 brand. That's the first brand with his name on it. And he also kept the real estate, and he brought me with him as well. And we continued development of McKees 37. So those are good products. How they are now, I'm not sure. But just like anything else, technology continues to advance. Just like Tesla. Every 3 months there's a Tesla that now gets to 60 miles an hour in 1.9 seconds.
Absolutely. It's amazing how quality of these products have come over.
Oh, it is tremendous.
I mean, it's like back when I started in the 60s, that was much. But now it's just a world of it. It's just amazing. I mean, they got the chemicals, the things that we're working on research. Like you said, this is going to another level. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, but you still can get results with some of them.
Oh, there's a lot of quality products in the market. To answer your question, that'll still work. This is what we manufacture, we sell, and Bob and I, we have used everyone's product, and we compare it. And anything that has Bob's name on it that is sold in this building has to be the best. Period. And same thing with Wayne. If Wayne's going to represent something in a shop, it has to be the best.
Absolutely.
And that's not just for the chemicals, that's for the dry goods as well. So if it's a towel, if it's a sprayer, if it's a buffer, we only bring in the best. Right, Bob?
My name's on it. It's got to be.
His name is on it. I'll get you the microphone.
I don't need a microphone.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good. Let me just add, and Nick's been with me a long time, but if I ask people in this room what brand of car wax or car care products you're using, you'll probably have to think about it for a while, unless you're using McKees. And if you use the McKee product, you'll remember what you're using because it'll supersede your expectations. And I guarantee it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good products out there. If you have something, and Bob and I tell people this all the time, if you have something and you enjoy it and you use it, we'll keep using it. When you run out, give us a shot.
Wow. I wasn't insinuating that your products are the best. That these were the things that you were pushing at the time that were the best.
I didn't even hear what you were saying, don't worry.
I didn't mean to start with can work. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, not can works.
No, I'm just talking from mine because I'm interested and I use your products now and they do exceed with them. So what I'm saying is those things were still along the way where they wouldn't have at the time, but it was best.
Absolutely.
Now they've progressed. That's all I'm trying to
Well,
say.
look like that's changed in the past year and a half.
Oh, tremendous.
A year and a half, we didn't have the graphene, we didn't have,
Yeah.
No, but you.
I have a hard time keeping up with it,
Believe me, the salesman in me says, go home and throw that stuff out. And I'm McKees. But in the real world, I'm not going to tell you that because it's good
That's
stuff.
right, that's right.
Go ahead, Jim.
Nick, obviously, before you do what you did, if the car needs a clay bar job, you're gonna do the clay mitt first.
Exactly. So Jim had a good question. Before you do this, and this is what you asked earlier, Gene, is how do I prep the surface? Well, before you do this, you're going to wash it, obviously, and then you're going to feel the paint with your hand in like a sandwich baggie. And if the paint feels rough or gritty, then use a clay bar or a clay mix. That removes the top contaminants, so your polish will work a lot better. Good question, Jim.
But the thing is, when you use the clay mitt, like, you know, the new thing you have?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, will that clay job remove a little bit of the holograms?
The clay mitts don't remove holograms, no. No, the polishing is going to remove the holograms.
Okay, so in other words, it won't reduce it just a little.
No, clay bars, they remove bonded contaminants like paint overspray, industrial fallout, bug splatter, that kind of thing.
I'm just curious about one thing. What's the number 37 signify?
The number 37, there's a lengthy story behind that. But,
Okay, give me the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah, the Reader's Digest version is Bob's a marketing genius. He's also the greatest showman. And men especially are attracted to numbers. So, you know, when Bob has developed several brands over the years, like Pinnacle, Black Label 850. The number 850, can anyone guess what that is? What it represents? Well, it's the top credit score. So it's a subliminal message. Think about WD-40.
Yeah, right.
What does the 40 mean? I have no idea, but it sounds good. So, Marine 31. 31 at the time, actually still is today, a very popular boat. The most popular boat Bob told me like in existence. So, yeah, there you go. So everyone thought that Bob picked 31 for the name for that. With McKees 37, Bob's first motor coach was 37 feet long. So it's like, hey, we need a number. What do we pick? So McKees 37, and I never get a chance to share this part of the story because Bob's telling it. But ironically enough, one day I just did the math. It was real simple. I think when Bob turned 70, he was able to do the math real fast. But he's actually 51, guys. So Bob and I were 37 years apart in age, which. I mean, I just one day did the math, so that's really interesting too. So I've been under Bob's tutelage the last 12 years, and we've always been 37 years apart in age. So who would have thought when I started with Bob that number 37 would mean something significant? You probably didn't know that, did you?
Is that the rest of the story, like Paul Harvey says? You know who Paul Harvey is?
I've heard the name, yeah.
No, he doesn't know.
You know, I'm too young. I just turned 12. Any other questions?
Good answer.
I got one more.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the difference between the different type of polishers? You touched on it a little bit about how they move and.
Oh, sure.
A couple different ones here, different brands. What do you look for? Is there a difference in what they do?
So I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna soar over this at 30,000 feet.
Yes.
Okay. So you have a dual action machine and you have a rotary machine. Rotary spins in a circle. Dual action rotates and oscillates. Now there's different orbits of dual action on the market. You can go something like the Porter cable, which I believe is a 8mm. That's the size of the orbit. But now there's these what they call long stroke machines. And the long stroke machines, instead of an 8mm orbit, they have a 15 or a 21mm orbit, and they cover a much larger area, so they work faster. They're a more premium tool, a more premium design. What I've been telling people for 12 years is that when you're shopping for a polisher, there's two brands to look at. There's Porter cable and there's Flex. They're both fantastic quality. Porter cable is the one that I showed here. It's inexpensive, it gets the job done, and it's going to last forever. Now, if you want something that's even more powerful, and it's smoother, and it has that German engineering, then there's the Flex line of buffers, which they have a random orbital, they have a rotary, they have a mini polisher, a battery one, they have the whole 9 yards. Good question. So that's 30,000 feet going over. And we have videos for all this stuff too. Like once you go on our YouTube channel, you'll look at your watch in 4 or 5 hours of gone by because there's just so much good content. And of course I'm biased because I made it all, but it genuinely is good content. It'll answer a lot of your questions. Anything else?
I have a graphene coating on my car,
Yep.
and you have two products. You have this,
Yep.
and you have a wood spray detailer. What do you recommend? How's it?
So the graphene, we actually showed the hydrographene at our first Cars and Coffee from McKees. That's a spray rinse ceramic, so that has its own respective application. And then the graphene detail spray is if you had a car out there today and you want to wipe it down, that's when you use a detail spray.
But this is more part of the actual.
coating that's there.
Oh no, that's actually going to boost the coating that's there. So it's going to add more gloss and more protection.
So you work on using just one or just, or?
I get both. Use that when you wash it. Like for example, my Mustang. If you guys see my Mustang out there, it's a GT California Special. It has my graphene coating on it, and I use that after I wash it. But then when I come to a show like this morning, I'll wipe it down to remove the dust and the fingerprints. Okay? So 2 different applications. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Can I get you to polish my car?
Absolutely. I'll meet you here at midnight tonight. Okay, out in the parking lot.
Sounds like a
Anything else? And if you guys have any more afterwards, please don't be shy. Come forward. And by all means, I have 2 polishers set up. If you guys want to get some hands-on, you want to get a feel for it on someone else's car, there's no liability forms to fill out, so if you scratch it, it's fine. Okay, have fun. But otherwise, call me during the week. You can stop by, and please don't be shy. Come forward and ask questions. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.